guys, so welcome back to another episode of the Property Sourcing Success Show. Now, today I want to talk to you about something that actually might surprise you, and this was something we went through on a coaching call with our six-figure sourcing mastermind guys earlier this week. Most people in property sourcing, most people who are portfolio building think that the only way to find investors these days is to post endlessly on social media, to plaster social media, to assault social media with content that frankly is generic and looks the same as absolutely everybody else out there who's trying to do the same thing. I'm sure social media works. In fact, I can tell you social media works. I use it myself, but here's the truth. Your perfect investor is not sitting refreshing their Instagram feed at 11 o'clock at night waiting for your post to pop up. Your ideal investor isn't waiting desperately on LinkedIn for your next intellectual business post to pop up. It's just not the way it works. So your next ideal investor is sitting in somebody else's database. They're attending somebody else's networking event, or they're having a coffee with a professional who already knows exactly how much that they have to invest. So in this episode today, I want to walk you through 6 outside the box, non-social media ways to attract investors. Now, these are strategies that you can take and you can action this week. And I'll share, real life examples of how I have used them in my property business to fill my pipeline without posting a single thing online and without having to do it religiously every single day. With that in mind, this is probably going to be an episode that you're going to want to listen to back a few times. But if you're sitting down, get a pen and paper, write these down, and let's get straight into it. The first strategy is what we call the professional partner approach. Now, think about this. Mortgage brokers, letting agents, independent financial advisors, which I haven't utilized, but I have used accountants. I've used mortgage brokers. I've used letting agents. I've used accountants. These are people that have active and live databases of investors. And they're not just might be investors. These are people who have already bought a property, who are maybe in the middle of buying a property, or who have capital ready in place and ready to go. Mortgage brokers have access to these people. Investors come to them all the time to get mortgages on their investment properties. Letting agents have access to these people. They manage the properties that investors bring to them to look after. And accountants know people who have money. Okay, so one of my favorite examples is I actually partnered up with a local mortgage broker here in Belfast who had over 400 landlords on his books. I offered him an introducer fee for any investor he sent my way who ended up buying a deal through me or who officially onboarded as a client, that I would offer him an introducer fee. And the additional carrot to this deal was, listen, any deal that I source for this investor, you can take the back end management, because at the end of the day, we know that the letting agent's bread and butter is the monthly management fee, that ongoing income. So I partnered with him and said, you've got 400 landlords on your book who are actively investing or were investing at one point in time or who are considering adding to their portfolio. Put me in front of your database. And if any of those investors come on board as an official investor client of mine within the portfolio building business, for every one of those, I will offer you an introducer fee of £500 plus retained management of any deal I source for this investor. Within 4 weeks, my investor call diary was packed from that one strategy alone. So instead of cold hunting for investors one by one, piece by piece, post by post on Facebook, find the person who already has 100 of them sitting in their CRM, who's done the work, they've done the heavy lifting, and make yourself valuable to them. That is one of the most powerful strategies, and I continue to use that in my property business today. The second strategy that I use is essentially borrowing other people's audiences. Now, this is about specifically event hosts. Event hosts, business and property, they are the gatekeepers to a room full of potential investor clients, whether that's for your sourcing business or whether you are looking to raise angel finance. They could be property networking events. Yes, obviously. But they can also be business breakfasts, chamber of commerce meetings, landlord association meetups. Now, the two that I utilized heavily, event hosts, property, and BNI, business network initiatives, breakfast meetings. Those are the two that I use heavily. 2 ways to work with them. Very, very simple. You can collaborate with them to get access to their attendee lists. So sometimes you can sponsor the event. Sponsoring the event, you can simply ask the host if they would be open to sharing the list of people who have purchased a ticket with them, and that you have something valuable that you can offer them via email, collecting their email addresses. Or the second one, which is much easier, is offer to be a guest speaker at one of these events. And when you get to the front of the room and you deliver value on what it is that you do, I'll give you my example. When I started off, I borrowed other people's audiences by offering to be a guest speaker at their event. I stood at the front of the room. I did a 10 to 15 minute presentation on my portfolio building business, on the types of properties that I typically sourced, what made them attractive, what made them sexy, and what I could offer other investors. Now, key on this, at the end of that presentation, on the PowerPoint, I put up a QR code and said, look, I have a free resource bundle of what makes for the sexiest buy-to-let properties in South Belfast. If you scan this QR code, you can access all my resources there. Now, the key thing here was, once they scanned that QR code, I was getting their email addresses, their contact information, which put them on my database, which meant that they were free game in order for me to follow up with to figure out who is my next investor. You need to do this. All right, so this nonsense of I can't find any investors, you're not trying hard enough. I've had my name go out on event newsletters. I've had my name appear on the welcome slides. I've been mentioned in the opening addresses. Why? All because I offered a short, practical talk about where the best property opportunities are in my area right now. Instant credibility, no cold outreach. Every single one of you who is tuning in, whether you're listening to this on Spotify or you're tuning in and watching me go off my head on YouTube, everybody can do this. Most of you won't because you can't be bothered, but everybody can do this. The third strategy that I use is cross-industry collaborations. Now, if I'm honest, this is one most people miss. But by partnering with businesses that already serve landlords, already serve investors, but maybe they're not in property investment and sales. So think about builders, think about tradesmen, think about insurance brokers, think about architects, think about furniture suppliers, staging companies. They'll often hear about investment plans before anybody else. Like the builder that I know he wasn't the builder, he was my painter, Arthur. And he introduced me to 2 landlords who then became repeat clients simply because they were already in conversation about their next refurb, and Arthur happened to be on site as the painter on the jobs and was able to make that introduction. That same guy, Arthur, who is my painter, he also brought me over the last number of years 4 cracking off-market property opportunities in the areas that he's about day in and day out. You need to utilize this. So look for service providers who already have access to your ideal client. Offer them a reason to connect you. Referral fees, introducer fees, and make them enticing, make them compelling. £100 here and there is not going to float anybody's boat. But if you get a new investor on board for your portfolio building business who pays you £3,000 to £5,000 for every deal that you bring, well then paying someone £500 for the benefit of introducing you, it's a good return on your investment. The fourth strategy that I like to use is what I term the quiet investor hunt. So here's a flip in thinking. Instead of going to property events, go to their industry events, dentist events, consultant events, company director, tech founders. They all run their own dinners, golf days, charity days, and you could be the only property person in the room, which puts you at a significant advantage. It's also the reason that I joined BNI and that attended their breakfast business meetings, because any BNI chapter, that's what each meeting is called, only allows one type of professional for every single meeting that they hold. Therefore, I knew I was the only portfolio building business and would be in competition with no one at all of these business breakfast meetings. But I was sitting around the table with one property management company, one estate agency, one lettings firm. Do you think we did business together? Absolutely. In relation to this quiet investor hunt, branching outside of the world of property by, golf days, charity days, company director meetings, I once attended a professional services dinner. There was, I think, maybe 120 people in the room. Not a single other property investor, not a single other property sourcer there. I walked away with 6 business cards that night and 2 investors signed off the back of it. It's about positioning yourself, guys, in spaces where you are not competing for attention with everybody else in your industry, which is part of the reason I have come to loathe property networking events, because everybody's in the rooms looking for the same thing. However, can you leverage yourself by offering a guest speaking slot, offering a sponsorship spot? You absolutely can. And by doing that, you then get access to everybody who comes into that room, and you have permission to contact them. That's really, really, really powerful. Number 5, local community visibility. Nobody does this. Now, this one is really local, but very, very powerful. Sponsor a local event. Sponsor a business breakfast. Sponsor something at your kid's school, which I do regularly. Sponsor a charity fund run. Sponsor a school fundraiser so that your name becomes synonymous with the local property person. Or you can offer to run a free talk for community groups or local business forums, on the local property market, where it's headed. You're not selling here, you're just showing up as a trusted local authority. Number 6, media authority strategy. This one is massively underused, massively underused. And we've actually had mentees come through the mastermind program who have utilized this to great success, right? Your local press, your business magazines, your lifestyle magazines, your regional newspapers, they are absolutely crying out for local educational content, whether they are running their publications online or in print. Now think about this. Every month, your name is in print under a headline like 3 ways to maximize your local rental returns, right? Why South Belfast is the only place to consider investing in 2025. I'm giving you my examples, you insert your own. But you send that article to an investor and say, look, here's the latest piece that I wrote in the local business magazine. It immediately gives you instant credibility. Immediately gives you instant credibility. And I've done the same. Like, I've been featured in magazines like Blue Bricks Property Magazine, and I've presented this to my investors. It immediately adds that instant credibility. And the pitch is really simple. You introduce yourself, what you do, you offer a sample of maybe 200 to 300 word articles, and then you offer to provide regular content in that article for free. You're getting your business in front of hundreds, if not thousands of eyeballs every single week, or maybe it's bi-week or every single month. But you're becoming synonymous with providing value on that particular niche, topic, property content every single month. It provides insane credibility and authority. And with credibility and authority comes the attraction of business. They get the content, you get the platform, you get the authority, and then you get to reach an audience of landlords, of business owners, of high earners without paying a single penny on ads. The reality is, guys, and the big takeaway that I want you to have from this episode today is investors are not just constantly scrolling on social media. They are already connected to people and places that you can tap into if you're willing to put down the phone, step off your Facebook feed, and start building those relationships. So I would encourage you, your challenge this week, pick one of those 6 strategies and action it, put it into play, whether it's meeting the mortgage broker, whether it's pitching an article to your local newspaper or magazine online or in print, whether it's attending a completely non-property networking event. Do something that puts you into their world, because the more people that you position yourself in front of as the go-to in other people's networks, then the less you have to chase. And that's what the real successful property investors, portfolio builders are doing. They're positioning themselves. They're not chasing. And the right investors will find you. So look, if you want help building your investor pipeline without constantly relying on social media, this is exactly the kind of work that I do with our mentee clients inside the 6-Figure Sourcing Mastermind. We focus on strategies that get results, not likes on social media, not comments on social media, because that doesn't put money in the bank. That doesn't build a lifestyle business. That doesn't build wealth. I'll give you the templates, I'll give you the scripts and the step-by-step plans to make it actually happen. Anyway, if you'd like to find out more, send me a quick message on Facebook. Just find me on Facebook, Danielle Bell, DM me the word mastermind, and we can have a chat. In the meantime, I hope this has been super useful for you. As always, no fluff, all straight tactics. Take it and implement it, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.